The other day, we just planted our Ridgeline Summer Draw food plot. This food plot is a spring food plot that I'm planting. It is now May 27th, I believe, and we just planted it 2 days ago. We're gonna let this grow throughout the summer and then come back and plant a fall plot later in August or September. But basically, this plot is Summer Draw. It is a lot of sunflowers, soybeans, and a few other things in it as well. It's gonna grow up nice and tall. It's gonna provide some food and some cover, and it's just gonna look really pretty as well. It's going to be really good for deer and a lot of other wildlife as well. The way that we planted this plot was we first came down and disked it. Then I disked it again a few days later. Then we let it sit for 2 weeks to dry and let any weeds germinate. We came down, we disked it up when it was drier, got a better seed bed. Then we drug it with the drag harrow, let it set for another day and drug it again, and then we planted it. My disc is an old disc, so it's not the best machine for making a nice smooth seed bed, but it gets the job done and it does what I need it to do. After we disc it, like I said, we take the drag harrow over. That's basically just this chain link type thing that I pull with the four-wheeler. It busts up sod clumps and helps level out the soil. I like to let the soil dry because it works better in drier soil. So that's why I let it dry after I disc it. And then I did it a second time and it got the seed bed looking pretty good. Then we planted the seed. I drug it a third time to pull some soil over the seed. That helps, you know, germination process. And then normally that's where I leave my plots at, just right there. But this year I'm trying something different with packing it down. I don't have a cul-de-pack or anything, so I just use the tires on my four-wheeler. So my pop-up and I used the side-by-side and the four-wheeler, and we drove around in circles for probably 30-45 minutes and got all this seed packed down into the soil better. Now there's some soybeans and sunflowers in here, maybe should be planted a little bit deeper than where they're at, but that's why I was really like, we need to get this at least packed, and hopefully it should allow most of the seed in here to germinate pretty well. Now the one problem I did run into was, since I didn't mow it, I had a lot of sod that didn't get chopped up and a lot of rye that didn't get chopped up. This is one of those sod areas that didn't get cut up. It just didn't disc up. It was thick, tall grass. It just didn't chop up. Then we have all this literally rye straw right here. This is legit rye straw because up in this section there was a really good stand of rye. We didn't mow it, so that disc kind of just chopped it up. And well, when I took the drag hair over, it just creates these clumps of rye straw. With all that being said, guys, I'm going to check back in with you in a couple weeks. I will show you how this plot's coming along, and hopefully it'll look really nice. It's time for the update, and this is a good update. Take a look at this beautiful looking plot. As you can see by all the white flowering in here, this is buckwheat. And buckwheat, it is a food forage kind of for deer, but it also provides a lot of cover. Beautiful plot. It's a beautiful, beautiful plot. Also in here is our sweet corn that we planted. And I had planted this sweet corn to try to provide some cover for the deer, but that sweet corn honestly really isn't doing anything now that I look at it. But nonetheless, this is a beautiful, amazing looking plot. And there's a lot of cover in here. It's gonna be really nice for the deer. This side of the plot is a little bit weaker though. The reason being is we did actually run out of the Summer Draw seed, and I ended up planting kind of just some random stuff that I had sitting around. As you can see, there is still corn in it, conventional corn, buckwheat. There is actually a lot of clover coming up down here in the base, as you can see. It's honestly a good bit of corn growing up there too. My hope is that that corn puts on an ear. I don't know if it will, but that'd be cool if it did. Another reason it's pretty thin through here is it was super wet in this section. This is a spot that we had planted sweet corn, and it just didn't really germinate in these rows, and it's really struggled in here. But overall, I mean, there's a lot of conventional corn popping up, a ton of buckwheat. Over there is just looking super beautiful, and over here it's struggling, but it's still gonna be all right. What I'm thinking is I'll probably end up putting 5-star Rage over in that spot where it's struggling right now, just because that spot actually does sit drier here in the fall. At least up on the top section, so it would actually probably do pretty well. We had 5-star Rage in there last year, and it would do really well up there again. And it'll be nice because there's a tree stand over there. As far as this plot here, we might put 5-star Rage down the center. The cool thing with all this buckwheat is I can broadcast my 5-star Rage in there and then actually roll it, and rolling and crimping the buckwheat will actually terminate it, and then you'll have that thick thatch laying over top of the brassicas, and I don't have to worry about drying out the soil. I have had that problem in years past where I do disking to put in that food plot, and the soil just gets too dry and it doesn't germinate very quickly. So this is an outstanding looking plot. There's a ton of forage down here: corn, soybeans, peas, sunflowers, buckwheat, you name it, it's down here. Outstanding plot by Ridgeline.